How does the U.S. health system work? Healthcare in the United States is organized in a complex bureaucracy. While in the rest of the world healthcare facilities are owned mostly by governments or by private sector businesses, in the U.S. a large share of hospitals and clinics are owned by private nonprofit organizations. Yet, the United States is the country that has the highest healthcare expenditures in the world. While these expenditures are covered in a large share by public payers as by federal institutions or state and local governments, they can also be covered by private insurance and individual payments. At the same time, unlike most developed nations, the U.S. health system does not provide health care to its entire population. As there is no single nationwide system of health insurance, the United States primarily relies on employers who voluntarily provide health insurance coverage to their employees and dependents. In addition, the government has programs that tend to cover healthcare expenses for the fragile parts of the society as the elderly, disabled, and the poor. These programs differ from one another and all have a specific kind of people that are subject to. Getting health insurance in the U.S. is not an easy thing. Someone may think that once you have money, everything is easy peasy, but in fact, things are a bit more complicated. One must be very careful and look out to pick the right insurance. Health insurance in the United States for non-citizens. The United States government does not provide health insurance for all its people, and health insurance is not obligatory for those living in the U.S. It is optional, but highly recommended and necessary since health services are very costly, more than in any other country anywhere across the globe. There are two types of health insurances in the U.S., private and public. Most people use a combination of both. The U.S. public health insurances are Medicare, Medicaid, and Children's Health Insurance Program. Medicare is a national health insurance program that dates back to 1966. It provides health insurance for U.S. nationals older than 65 years old, but also for younger people with end-stage renal disease, ALS, and some other disabilities. Data shows that in 2018, Medicare provided almost 60 million individuals with health care in the U.S., over 51 million of which were older than 65. The Medicare program is divided into four parts. Part A, which covers hospitals, skilled nursing and hospice services. Part B covers outpatient services, including some providers' services while inpatient at a hospital. Outpatient hospital charges. Part C is an alternative called managed Medicare, which permits patients to select health plans with at least the same service coverage as Part A and B, often the benefits of Part D, and an annual out-of-pocket spend limit which A and B lack. To sign in this part, one must sign in Part A and B first. Part D covers mostly self-administered prescription drugs. Medicaid is a federal and state program that helps people with limited income and resources to cover medical costs, while covering benefits normally not covered by Medicare, as nursing home care and personal care services. It is the largest source of funding for medical and health-related services for people with low income in the United States. Data shows that the U.S. provided health insurance to 71 million people with low income or disabilities, which is 23% of the total of the U.S. population. Children's Health Insurance Program, formerly known as the State Children's Health Insurance Program, SHIP. This is a program that covers with health insurance children of families with modest income that are not low enough to qualify for Medicaid. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is a federal statute signed into law by President Obama, which made it mandatory for every citizen to have health insurance or be penalized. The act subsidies for low-income families by taxing healthcare providers and high-income families, as it was designed to lower healthcare costs while providing better healthcare for Americans. The Affordable Care Act allowed parents to add their children up to the age of 26 to their policies, in a bid to have younger healthy people paying premiums. It also allowed poorer people to get treatment for chronic illnesses instead of using the emergency room. U.S. private health insurance. There are about 1,000 private health insurance providers in the U.S., with each of them offering different plans with different prices, which largely depend on a person's medical history. However, while there are individual plans covering only one person, there are also group plans targeting families in particular. Usually, there are three types of health insurances in the United States. Traditional fee-for-service health insurance plans, which plans are usually the most expensive, that those with an income lower than the average income in the U.S. have difficulties to purchase. However, these are the best plans as they offer you most flexibility. Health maintenance organizations, HMOs, which offers a limited choice of healthcare providers, yet it also offers lower co-payments and covers the cost of more preventative care. They are evaluated and accredited by the National Committee for Quality Assurance. Preferred provider organizations, PPOs, which just like HMOs offer lower co-payments, but they give you more flexibility when selecting a provider, as they give you a list of providers among which you can choose. How to choose a good U.S. health insurance plan. When looking up for a good health insurance plan, make sure you ask questions like, does that plan grant you with the right to go to any doctor, hospital, clinic or pharmacy you choose? Are specialists such as eye doctors and dentists covered? Does the plan cover special conditions or treatments such as pregnancy, psychiatric care and physical therapy? Does the plan cover home care or nursing home care and medications a physician might prescribe? What are the deductibles? Are there any co-payments? What is the most you will have to pay out of my own pocket to cover expenses? Make sure you also understand how a dispute about a bill or service is handled by your provider, as in some plans, you may be required to have a third party decide how to settle the problem. We recommend the Geo Blue Splitter plan for foreigners in the United States. Health insurance requirements for foreign visitors in the U.S. Though the United States authorities have not made health insurance mandatory for short-term travelers to the country, as B1/B2 visa holders, it is highly recommended for every traveler to get insurance before their trip to the country. The main reason why you should get insurance is that healthcare in the U.S. is extremely expensive, and even a checkup for a simple headache will cost you hundreds of dollars, while a broken limb will cost you thousands. Health incidents are never foreseen, therefore it is best to be prepared for it and get insurance, so in case of need you save yourself money. Health insurance options for legal immigrants. Immigrants that are lawfully present in the United States are eligible to get private health insurance in the U.S. In addition, lawful immigrants may also eligible for lower costs on monthly premiums and lower out-of-pocket costs based on your income, as follows. Those with annual income 400% of the federal poverty level or below may be eligible for premium tax credits and other savings on marketplace insurance. Whereas those with annual household income is below 100% federal poverty level that are not otherwise eligible for Medicaid are eligible for premium tax credits and other savings on marketplace insurance, given that they meet all other eligibility requirements. Most of the time, qualified non-citizens are eligible for coverage through Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP, given that they meet the income and residency rules of the state where they are based. Qualified non-citizens are considered the following: lawful permanent residents, asylees, refugees, battered non-citizens and spouses, children, or parents, victims of trafficking in his or her spouse, child, sibling, or parent, or individuals with a pending application for a victim of trafficking visa. Cuban Haitian entrants, those paroled into the U.S. for at least 1 year, conditional entrant granted before 1980, those granted withholding of deportation, and members of a federally recognized Indian tribe or American Indian born in Canada. However, most of them will need to wait for 5 years in the U.S. in order to get Medicaid and CHIP coverage in the U.S. after they get qualified. Refugees and asylees are exempt from the waiting period. In addition, states have the option to abolish the 5-year waiting period for children and pregnant women so they can be covered by Medicare and CHIP. You can get a free U.S. health insurance quote here. While you are free to choose the plan that suits you best, we recommend the GeoBlue Explorer. Health insurance options for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants in the U.S. can get health coverage only from private providers, as the U.S. government-funded health insurance does not cover them. Community centers can provide medical help to undocumented immigrants in the U.S., which is termed safety net providers, if the healthcare seeker can participate in fee-for-service medical assistance. The policy for health insurance for green card holders in the U.S. is similar to that of U.S. citizens. Immigrants and citizens of the U.S. have to purchase their health insurance through private companies because the U.S. does not have a national healthcare system that covers all groups of people. The existing public health care only covers limited groups of people, such as elders, children, or the disabled. As such, green card holders over the age of 65 are eligible to receive public insurance like Medicaid, but only after 5 years of permanent residency in the U.S. Do green card holders need health insurance? No, having health insurance for green card holders is not mandatory in the United States. However, it is highly recommended because the cost of healthcare in the U.S. is very high. Just a consultation with a doctor can reach hundreds of dollars, whereas hospitalization can set you back thousands of dollars per night, without including the cost of the medical treatment itself. We recommend green card holders and new immigrants in the United States purchase the Geo Blues Premier Plan before January 2019 under the legislation of the Affordable Care Act, ACA, or Obamacare. All U.S. citizens and immigrants had to get health insurance compliant with ACA, or they would have to pay a fine alongside paying their medical expenses. But as of January 1st, 2019, the federal law does not require citizens and immigrants to have health insurance. Instead, it is up to each state to decide whether or not they will request their residents to acquire medical insurance. What are the types of health insurance plans available for green card holders? As a green card holder, you can get health insurance through one of the following ways. Group health insurance plan, individual health insurance plan. Group health insurance plans. Group health insurance plans for immigrants in the U.S. are usually purchased by companies or organizations and offered to the employees of the company or the members of the organization. These types of health insurance plans are cheaper because they are purchased for a larger number of people and the head of the company organization covers part or most of the expenses. Group health insurance plans in the U.S. can be extended to include the dependents, spouse and children, of the green card holder as well. If you have elderly immigrant parents, you won't be able to add them to your group health insurance. Instead, you will have to purchase adequate health insurance for green card holders over 65. Individual health insurance plans. Individual health insurance plans are when you buy the plan yourself from a health insurance company and your employer is not involved. For example, if the health insurance plan your employer has offered does not suit your needs, you can opt out of it and purchase your own. Green card holders over the age of 65 who are not working and who do not qualify for public health care yet will also have to get an individual health care plan. Health insurance for new immigrants in the U.S. New immigrants in the U.S., such as the relatives or elderly parents of U.S. residents or citizens, can purchase health insurance plans under the new U.S. health care marketplace, known as the Affordable Care Act, ACA, or Obamacare. However, the type of health insurance plan you need depends on your resident status. For example, international student health insurance requirements depend largely on the school, while H-1B visa holders can get health insurance from their employers. Living in the United States can be quite expensive, in particular for students coming on an F1 visa who very often finance their studies through scholarships or loans. When it comes to the expensive life in the U.S., even getting sick can be unaffordable if one does not take the necessary measures on time. Getting ill or involved in an accident in the United States is not something a student can afford. However, things happen. All of a sudden, you find yourself in poor physical health or badly injured, far away from home and family. Worrying about how to pay the unaffordable medical bill is the last thing you need. Do international students in USA need health insurance? International students in the US may need health insurance to enroll at university, but not necessarily to get an F1 visa. So, having adequate health insurance coverage is a requirement set by the university, not by US law. So, you should check with the university that you will enroll at whether health insurance is mandatory for international students. When should F1 visa applicants get health insurance? You can get student health insurance anytime after setting foot in the United States, or even before you travel. Comparison sites such as insurer offer different options for students. Depending on the policy, your coverage can start as soon as the next day after purchase. Why can't I just use my travel insurance? Your U.S. travel insurance is not the same as international student insurance that is required for an F1 visa because it is short-term and does not have the same amount of coverage. In a nutshell, travel insurance is to protect you and your belongings during a trip, for example, the trip from your home country to the U.S., whereas student health insurance is to cover you for any medical expenses you may have while you are actually living and studying in the United States. How to get health insurance for international students in USA. Here are the steps that you need to go through to get a health insurance coverage for students in USA. Check if your school, university, college in the U.S. implements a mandatory group health insurance plan. If they do, you will need to ask them if they are included in the tuition bills, or you need to pay them additionally, and then proceed on with completing the payments. If they have a mandatory group health insurance plan with an optional waiver, check if it fits you. If it does not, ask them to send you a waiver form and complete steps 2, 3, and 4. If they do not have any insurance plan, Complete steps 2, 3, and 4. Check for companies offering health insurance for international students in the U.S. or brokers such as Insurer. List the benefits you think are necessary for you, including the waiver form, and compare it with the plans the companies you have checked are offering. Do not forget to check if your dependents can be added to the plan if you plan to bring someone to the U.S. with you. Select the most suitable plan for you, and proceed with purchasing it. Health insurance options for foreign students in the U.S. When you look up for international student health insurance options in the USA, you should also consult the regulation of the institution where you are registered at to make sure in case they have any specific requirements. Here are the main types that you can choose from. Mandatory group plans. Some schools, colleges, universities in the U.S. have their own compulsory plans with predetermined coverage, which foreign students have to purchase. The main features of plans implemented by schools are as following. They are often automatically added to your tuition bill. Usually, they cost more than individual plans. They provide more comprehensive coverage, including coverage for maternity, pre-existing conditions without a waiting period, mental health, wellness, preventative care. Mandatory group, with the option to waive. Some schools, colleges, universities have a mandatory insurance plan with predetermined coverage for all their students, but still allow students to opt out. This under the condition that the student who chooses to purchase health insurance outside the one predetermined by the school purchases an adequate plan. Schools decide whether the outside plan is adequate through the waiver form. This is a document no longer than 2 pages that contains a list of the benefits requirements that your health insurance policy needs to either meet or exceed. It requires both your signature and that of the insurance company. Optional plan. There are educational institutions in the U.S. that do not have mandatory plans with predetermined coverage. Therefore, students are free to select whatever plan they like. If your school permits you to purchase whatever plan you like, never go for the cheapest option, the one offering most services, nor least. Instead, take a look at several plans so you can pick the best health insurance for F1 visa students in the USA. International student health insurance requirements in USA in particular. Schools with a waiver form will require you to purchase insurance that fulfills the conditions listed below. Adequate policy maximum. Usually, students are asked to purchase a plan with a policy maximum of at least $50,000. Relatively low deductible. Schools often require a deductible limit per condition or per policy period as part of their waiver requirements, so that students can have out-of-pocket costs as low as possible. Mental health coverage. This requirement is included since universities want to make sure their students are not only physically healthy but also mentally. Maternity coverage. Adequate maternity coverage will be required for female students, with at least an 80% coverage in network for prenatal, delivery and postnatal care. Pre-existing condition coverage. If you have an existing condition that is diabetic, you will have to include it in your insurance plan. Repatriation of remains coverage. In the event where you pass away, coverage for repatriation of remains provides financial assistance to your family to return your mortal remains. What determines the cost of my F1 visa health insurance? The cost of your F1 visa insurance depends on several factors, including the city or state you live in, your age, and coverage. Where you live. The prices depend on the state or county in which you live in. Your age. The prices are higher the older a person is. Coverage, the length, how many months you need the plan for, as well as the level of coverage, what you want the policy to include cover. How to choose the best health insurance plan for F1 students. When deciding what the best health insurance plan is, you have to keep in mind the following factors. The sublimit of your health insurance. This is basically the maximum sum the plan will cover for a specific medical treatment and for the hospitalization. This is expressed either through a percentage or a price cap, and it decides how much of the medical bill will be covered by the healthcare provider and how much you have to pay yourself. Where you purchase your health insurance. Sometimes foreign students may want to purchase a health insurance plan from a company in their own country. However, even though it may be more tempting, purchasing your health insurance in the U.S. is the easier option simply because it is easier to process claims. Hospitals can bill your treatment cost directly to your provider. If you have purchased health insurance from a foreign company, you may have to pay the cost of your treatment yourself first, and then request to have the money reimbursed. This may not always happen. The school's requirements. Look at things such as the coverage, the policy maximum, etc. Health insurance options for international students after graduation. If you intend to stay in the United States after graduating, The type of health insurance you need will depend on your residential status. If you change your status to an H-1B work visa, you will need H-1B compliant health insurance. This means you will initially have a short-term insurance plan, and you can switch to a long-term plan after at least 6 months of residency on an H-1B visa. In many cases, U.S. employers offer health insurance coverage to employees. If you are eligible for an optional practical training, opt, you will have to continue with your current plan. This is not possible if you were subscribed to an insurance plan offered by your school. Health insurance for international students on OPT students under an optional practical training, OPT, are not eligible for coverage with their school's insurance plan anymore. So, you will need an OPT health insurance plan, which is not any different than regular insurance for international students. As such, if you had a mandatory group health insurance plan offered by your school, you now have to find a private health insurance company which will offer coverage for students on an OPT. If you had an optional health insurance plan, then you may be able to continue with the same plan even during your OPT. You must contact your health insurance company for guidance on how to proceed. As a final option, your employer may include you on the company's group health insurance, which would entail another type of insurance. The details of this type of insurance should be provided by your employer. Does international student insurance cover medications, eye checks and glasses? Yes, most international student medical insurance covers for prescription medication. If you are not sure, you should read the policy description or ask the insurer. Usually, the way it works with prescription medication is that you pay for the medication up front and then you file a claim for reimbursement with your insurer. Additionally, there are a number of over-the-counter medications that do not require a prescription, such as cold medicine, and are available at drugstores across the U.S. for fairly reasonable prices. Similar to dental insurance, a basic plan may not offer coverage for eye checkups or prescription eyeglasses or contacts. Depending on your insurance company, you can choose to have it covered by paying a little extra on your monthly premium. Is there health insurance coverage for dependents? Yes, some schools include health insurance for the dependents, spouse and children, of their students as well. However, in these cases, the cost will be much higher than for an individual student. If your school offers mandatory insurance without a waiver option, then you will have no choice but to go along with the insurance plan the school provides, regardless of the price. On the other hand, If you are free to choose your coverage yourself, then you can opt for an F2 visa health insurance plan, which offers more flexibility regarding the coverage your dependents receive. If you will join a family member who is going to study in the United States on an F1 visa, you are going to need your own F2 visa health insurance. Getting health insurance for F2 dependents is not mandatory and it will not harm your chances of getting a visa. However, it is strongly advised, considering how high the price of healthcare in the U.S. is. In most cases, the U.S. school will automatically enroll all international F1 students in a group health insurance policy, but they might not always extend the same coverage to their F2 visa dependents. If you are not eligible for group insurance, here is how you can get F2 visa healthcare coverage in the U.S. and what to look for when scouting the market. F2 visa insurance options. F2 visa holders have two health insurance options. The F1 student adds the dependent, F2 visa holder, to the group insurance plan the school offers. The dependent gets a private F2 visa health insurance plan. Group health insurance plan. Many U.S. universities offer F1 international students a health insurance package when they enroll. Some only offer coverage to the student but not the F2 visa dependent, while others allow the students to extend coverage to their dependents as well, for an additional charge. Health insurance policies offered by the university have very comprehensive coverage, but they are usually more expensive and can drastically increase in price if the student includes a dependent. The monthly premiums for F2 dependents can be 2-3 times more expensive than for international students. This is why many F2 visa dependents decide to opt out of school-offered insurance and get their own personal health insurance plan. Sometimes, these types of insurance plans have the option to waive, meaning the student may opt out of the insurance policy provided by the university if they find another one that meets the same coverage requirements. Naturally, the F2 visa holder is free to do the same. Private health insurance for F2 visa. F2 dependents can buy personal health insurance if they cannot join the insurance plan offered by the school to the international student or if they decide to opt out. There are countless insurance policies designed for F2 visa holders, international students, and expats in the U.S. If the F1 visa holder cannot waive the school's insurance requirement, the F2 dependent can get a personal insurance plan here. What is the best health insurance for F2 dependents? There are many great health insurance plans and companies for F2 visa holders, including Cigna International, International Medical Group, IMG, GeoBlue, Allianz Worldwide, Foyer Group, Expecare Global Healthcare. What to look for when buying F2 visa health insurance. When researching, make sure you look for the following factors. Are you comfortable with the policy maximum? The policy maximum is the maximum amount that the insurance company will pay for your medical expenses for the duration that the policy is valid. For example, you can purchase an insurance policy for 1 year with a policy maximum of $100,000, $500,000, or more. How much is the deductible? Also known as, how much will you have to pay until the insurance company covers the rest? Some policies have a set deductible, such as $100, whereas others work with a percentage, such as you pay 20% and the insurer covers the other 80%. Does the insurance policy cover everything you need? Most health insurance policies cover the usual doctor's visit, hospitalization, medication, tests, etc. Additionally, considering most F2 dependents tend to be the spouses of international students, this means there is a good chance that one of you might need maternity coverage, which is not always offered for F2 insurance. Do they offer direct billing? Most insurance companies offer the option for the hospital to bill the insurers directly, as long as it is on their PPO network. How to buy F2 visa health insurance. You can buy F2 health insurance online, either through brokers such as insurer or directly with an international health insurance provider. The way it usually goes is, you select the amount of time you will be in the U.S. for. You will be presented with one or several plans which offer that coverage. You read through the policies to look at the policy maximum, coverage, monthly premiums, etc., to decide which plan suits you best. Select a plan and purchase it. Receive the insurance confirmation. Naturally, each insurance company will have their own rules regarding preferred provider organization, PPO, networks and claims, so make sure you learn that before you choose a health insurance policy. PPOs are a network of hospitals, doctors, clinics, etc., which the insurance company works for. If you seek treatment at a facility within the PPO network, it will be less expensive and they can just bill the insurance company directly rather than you paying first and then making a claim for reimbursement. What does F2 visa health insurance cover? Health insurance for F2 visa holders in the U.S. usually covers the following: physician's visit, urgent care, emergency room, prescription medication, lab tests and x-rays, surgery and anesthesia, hospitalization, complications of pregnancy, if you are already pregnant. Health insurance for F2 dependents covering maternity. If you are already pregnant when you receive your F2 visa, then health insurance will only cover you for complications related to your pregnancy, not for the delivery, checkups, or any other maternity-related costs. Usually, there is no maternity coverage for F2 dependents by default, because a F2 health insurance plan is considered short-term. This means you may have to purchase an additional insurance plan only for pregnancy and maternity. However, keep in mind that even if you are not currently pregnant at the time you purchase a maternity health insurance plan, there is usually a wait time of about 10-12 months. This means that if you get pregnant as soon as you get to the US, or as soon as you buy the policy, you may still not receive coverage. Yet another thing to consider is that if your partner's school offers them a comprehensive health insurance policy and extends the same coverage to you, then you might have maternity coverage. That's because plans offered to international students by the university are more expensive, but they cover a lot. Is F2 visa health insurance expensive? You can expect to pay anywhere from $400 to upwards of $1,500 per year per person for F2 visa insurance, depending on how much coverage you want. The price of health insurance in the U.S. will depend on the deductible. The lower the deductible, the higher the price of the policy. Policy maximum. The price of the policy increases if there is a high policy maximum. For example, a policy covering $50,000 will cost less than one covering $100,000 or $1 million. If there is no coinsurance, the price of the policy is higher than if there is, say, a 20-80 coinsurance. The coverage duration. The longer you will stay in the U.S., the higher the price of the policy. Does F2 health insurance cover dental? Yes, there are F2 visa health insurance policies that do cover dental treatment, but they vary. Some will only cover acute pain or emergencies, not preventative treatment or checkups. In this case, you might have to purchase an additional dental plan if you feel like you may need it. Does F2 health insurance cover vision? Vision treatment, such as eye exams or glasses, are not always included in F2 visa insurance. This means you may have to purchase an additional vision insurance plan if you believe this is necessary. Exciting as it is moving abroad, it can also be nerve-wracking. Finding accommodation, settling all the bureaucratic aspects, relocating all your belongings and, arguably the most important, getting the best international health insurance plan. If you are already researching health insurance companies, you likely know the importance of a solid insurance plan. Admittedly, purchasing a policy can be confusing, and it is going to take a lot of browsing, detailed reading, and comparing insurance policies before you decide on the right one. IMG AXA, Generali Global Assistance, Cigna, Allianz Worldwide, Aetna International, Bupa Global, Geo Blue, Expecare Global Healthcare, A Plus International. IMG is a health insurance company focusing on international and travel health insurance for individuals, families, and companies. Their three most popular plans include Global Medical Insurance, Global Mission Medical Insurance, and Global Crew Medical Insurance. Get a free quote now. AXA headquartered in France, AXA is one of the leading life and health insurance companies with operating bases around the world. It offers 5 different international insurance policies: Foundation, Standard, Comprehensive, Prestige, and Prestige Plus. Generali Global Assistance, founded as far back as 1831, the Generali Group is part of Europe Assistance and aimed mostly at health insurance for businesses with globally mobile employees and employee groups. There are 3 different core plans: Select, Classic and Premier, and 3 additional outpatient options. Compliant worldwide, including North America.